Two, 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 two.
Okay. So everyone, I just want to introduce the amazing Dr. Josh and Lisa Dunsky. They have mentors to me. I'm just going to mute everybody here. I don't know if I can do that. All right.
Chess.
You guys can mute yourself because I'm not finding how I can mute participants. Hold on. Mute, unmute.
By one.
All right, we'll just try to. Sorry, everyone. Technical difficulties here. I think that's pretty good. Okay. Everybody should be muted here. Okay. So anyway, Josh and Lisa. Oh, I don't want to mute you guys. Can you unmute yourself?
Yep.
Okay. So Josh and Lisa are, let me make sure I got this right, 4-star crystal executive, which means that they have four executives in their team underneath them. 5-star golden circle, which means that they have hit the 5-star rank. Did I get that right?
Yep.
Awesome. And they have also earned the award of shooting star, which means that they jumped 2 ranks from 3-star to 5-star in 1 year. So I want to ask you guys about that in a little bit. And then Lisa, I want to talk to you about your amazingness too. But if you guys want to start, could you just share, I think some people here might know how you got introduced to Isagenix. Tell us a little bit about your story as far as that is concerned.
Sure.
Excellent. So first of all, thank you so much for having us on here. You are a shining light, my friend. Crystal, for those that don't know, this is a powerhouse woman on here, and we'll take no's as an answer for anything she's doing right now, right?
Thanks, Josh.
Gold. Love you. Anyways, so we started in 2011. Dave MacArthur talked to us on the phone. He wasn't actually the gentleman who started the conversation, though, which is interesting, and I think it's very poignant. Our sponsor was not really involved with the business, but he asked me to take a look at Isagenesis. And when I said to him, okay, tell me about this product, he really didn't have all the information, which is very powerful. So we all, spend time getting ready to get ready, and I have to memorize all this. You really don't. You just have to be able to refer people to a third party or another source, like a link or someone else who can explain the product or the business that's going to be your upline or a mentor or someone that maybe has been in the program longer than you. So he got me onto a phone call with Dave MacArthur and told us about Isagenesis. To make a long story short, we tried the product and fell in love with it. And so we really brought it into the practice at that point, Crystal. We brought it in for the science behind it, not for the business, and not for any other reason. So we started on Isagenesis by itself. And then obviously this morphed into something that we never expected. We didn't even know about the cleanse or the weight loss program. We found that Lisa tested that out, had dramatic results in the clinic, and people are like, what are you doing? And
I was flying.
Yeah, she was flying high. And, it just, you see the change that quickly. And she wasn't starving herself. I mean, she was eating, but she put this nutrition in her body and she lit up. And so we use the science from Isagenesis, but also now this cleanse weight loss program with our patients. And it took off. It had legs of its own. So that's really how we got started with it.
So, as far as the nutrition, I know you've used a lot of other nutrition in your throughout the years in your clinic, and you've got all kinds of amazing modalities and this and that. What is it about Isagenix that made you say, I don't want anything else but this, besides your results and how you two were feeling? Excuse me, I have a cold. What was it that, and still to this day, why Isagenix still to this day?
So to go backwards, so I've been practicing for 20 years, and the entire length of time from when I started, I've always felt strongly about nutrition. And so we had some very good companies in there, good science and different companies that I thought were pretty elite, which I still respect very much. But I never saw such sustainable results in such a short period of time. I never saw the changes so, I'll just say dramatically. In a short period of time, that was easy to deliver to the patients, easy to explain to the patients, and they stay on it for the most part. And so that really, you know, and I still, again, you know, like a couple other companies, but none of them that I've seen in my experience has been able to do what Isagenix can do. So for our core program, you know, it's the shake and isogenesis, no question. And it's the results speak for themselves. For a long time, we were doing a lot of testing, a lot of diagnostic testing, blood, urine. We get to see things that most people don't see. And that's it's hard to contest that. You know, when we see physiology changing in such an easy way, that's simply why it's still here and why it's mandatory in our program now.
Cool. Sorry, I'm taking notes. All right. So obviously, Josh, you connect with a lot of people in your practice, right? And we're not all physicians or chiropractors or doctors or therapists or whatever, where we have our own practice. But I know that your business is so much more than that. So I'd love to talk to both of you because you're both connecting like heroes. I mean, I know you can walk into any situation and you're making friends and you're talking to people. So give us some tidbits there. Tell us, you know, Lisa, what is it? I know that you and I have had this conversation where this wasn't always, you know, you weren't always the one to go and make all the friends in the room and be, you know, that person. So talk to us a little bit about how you do all this connecting, what you do, how it's, you know, just share, pour wisdom.
Well, yeah, I definitely wasn't. I was the one that was hiding behind Josh's skirt. It's a
Skirt?
It's a saying. It's a saying. Trust me. He wears skirts every once in a while. No, so, you know, I listened to Josh talk a lot in the beginning, and I was too scared. I was too shy to talk to people. I overcomplicated it. I got in my own way. I got in my head. And, you know, over time, as I listened more and more to Josh and got to really hear his confidence and not really worry about needing to have details, when I was talking to anyone, I was able to kind of stand up and find my own voice and realize that, you know, like Josh said, starting off the call, was you just have to have that third party validation. So all you're doing is striking up a conversation, and it's not hard to strike up a conversation either, because you just get out of your own way and don't make it weird. Just say hello or give a compliment. Compliments are the best doorway into someone's life. Women especially, you compliment a woman and she will talk to you all day long. You compliment a man, he might want to date you, but that's okay. No, we've had some funny stories about wanting to date when we're prospecting people, but we'll save that for another call. But really, it's just about finding a common ground. Jojo knows the story. It's about finding a common ground and just realizing that people are human. It's not, you know, you're not looking at someone and say, well, I'm going to enroll this person on my left under Karen, and then I'm going to become executive because Karen's the last person to be, you know, that needs to be consultant. And you're not thinking about the person at that stage. And you know, there's so many different levels too. People are like, well, how do I talk to this kind of person? How do I talk to that kind of person? This one's a doctor. This one's a nutritionist. This one's a aerobics instructor. And the answer is they're all people. And everybody has physical or financial pain, probably. Somebody has something that we have a solution for. But mostly the solution that we have that so many people overlook is our community and our relationships with each other. And that is, you know, the number one thing that you can really put forward when you're connecting with someone, because people crave connection. People want friends. People want to, you know, find someone that makes them laugh or makes them, you know, want to say, hey, hon, let's have so-and-so over next weekend. Like, I'd love to hang out with them again. That's the kind of thing people are looking for. And the other things just kind of come along as they present themselves. It doesn't have to be a in your face, you know, I do this thing and the underneath your whey protein and da 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 da, and you got to hear this science from my doctor friend. You know, it doesn't have to be all that stuff. It can just be, hey, you know, I like your shoes. Where'd you get them? You know.
And we all, I think, verbally vomit. At least I have many times.
Oh,
Sharon.
oh my gosh, yes. I mean, not you, me.
No, me. Well, I think we all have.
Everybody does
that's
it.
part of those are the growing pains that everybody goes through. Everybody goes through. So just normal.
So Josh, this isn't even on my list, but it just popped into my head. I remember many times you've called me, either if I hit blank or, you know, I had my first enrollments or whatever. You guys, I mean, literally, you guys have left me messages that I've listened to over and over again because I just was like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited that they called me. That was before we vacationed together. But one of the big things I remember when I don't remember exactly what it was, but we talked and I had like I used negative verbiage about myself. And can you just talk for a minute about, you know, you can either use our example or just in general, you know, how you coach somebody on your team or how you talk to people just to help them turn their verbiage around. And do you know where I'm going with that?
Yeah, I mean, I do. And there's so many avenues with that. And I think that if we knew from the beginning, and this relates to that, Crystal, it's such a good question. This business is not for everybody. Contrary to what you may hear, it is not. It's for people who want to make a change. And once we grab that, once Lisa and I really understood that, we stopped trying to get people. We stopped trying to, you know, how am I going to talk to that person? What am I going to say to that person? It's just, if someone's not interested or it's not the right time in their life, that's okay. We still love you. And you go on. There's so many people looking for this that we spent so much time trying to convince somebody or that, you know, we know what we have, but this person doesn't see it. So we spend all of our energy trying to make them see it. And it's defeating. And you beat yourself up and you start that negative talk and it comes out in other conversations. And the desperation just manifests itself and people can see that. Instead, identify people who may be looking for this, ask them if they're open to seeing something different. If they're not, no problem. If they are, great. What time works for you? And like Lisa said, it's just easy. Just talk to them. You know, when people say, well, what do I say here? What do I say there? We don't know. It changes every time. I mean, about, you know, verbal vomit, I do it every day. You know, it's like you have so much in your head you want to say, but you really just have to talk to someone and relate to them, connect, and move forward. So, yeah. And so the negativity, it's really, you need to learn or identify, how do you build the armor? How do you build the confidence? Because you don't have to know everything, number one. You don't have to be an expert, number two. You don't have to do, I will say, 80 to 90% of the things that we do. You just have to have confidence. How do you have confidence? Well, you learn more about the company. You learn a little bit more about the products. You put the products in your body and you see how you feel. And so when someone asks you a question, great question, I don't have the answer to that, but here's a website or here's someone I want to introduce you to. And that's it. And if they're ready to make a move, great. If not, follow back up with them in a week or 3 weeks or a month. Gentle, nice. So it's having that confidence, I believe, starts to chip away at that negativity and to know, and I can just say this, we've been here almost 10 years now, 9 years. We are in the right place at the right time in our lives, in everybody's life. And it doesn't matter if it takes you a year to rocket to your goal or if it takes you 10 years. You're talking about a residual income based on helping people live a better life. I mean, how crazy is that we have this opportunity? So when we brought that in and started to own that, it became easy. It's easy. If someone doesn't want to do it, that's okay. You just move to the next person.
A lot of people beat themselves up, you know, oh, I should have said this, or, oh, I should have talked to that person, or I threw up all over them, or whatever the I should have or could have or would have. It really is the way it was supposed to be, because every little step of the way you learn something. You learn you know, not to verbal vomit after a while. You learn what, you know, is important to add to the conversation, when it's important to shut up and listen. You learn all these things along the way, and beating yourself up about it is dwelling on the wrong thing. It instead of just moving forward and keep sharing the gift with other people who are searching for it.
You just reminded me, Lisa, of something that I always think about, is that everybody is where they're supposed to be. You told me that so many times over the last 2 years. You know, you're in the tree where you're supposed to be, and you're just that you're where you're meant to be, and this is, you know, for a reason. So I think about that all the time, and I did write down that I wanted to just kind of elaborate on that a little bit, because you guys are always telling me about you know, everyone has to build 2 legs, no matter where you're placed, inside leg, which is where you guys are, right? So yeah, pep talk that for 2 seconds. Lisa, go.
Yeah, I mean, you just gotta want it. You just gotta want it. That's another piece of negativity that there's just no time for. Is oh, I'm on an inside leg, or oh, you know, this person gets their business built all, you know, both legs, and you know, just the woe is me kind of stuff. It's everybody has to build 2 legs. Whether you've got people in your upline that are feeding 1 leg or not, you still have to build both legs. You still have to grow consultants. You still have to manage your business. You still have to enroll people. You still have to do the do. And no matter where you're placed, I mean, sure, you know, some people could get placed on a leg where there's a huge, great, you know, big team, but that's only 1 leg. You're not going to cycle if you're not building the other leg, and you're not going to rank advance. You're not going to get to where you want to go. And you just have to want where you want to be. You know, you have to go out there and do the do, and you have to want the success that you're seeking, instead of hoping and wishing, because hoping and wishing doesn't make it happen. It just doesn't. Or complaining, that doesn't either.
Awesome. All right, to keep talking to you, Lise, you last year at Celebration, right? You were celebrated for being Isagenix Woman of the Year, or Women, what was the title?
Women of Isagenix.
Women of Isagenix. So tell us about that. Why, what is that? And I know that there was a couple ladies on stage, and what does that entail? Or maybe Josh should talk, because he'll toot your horn more than you will, I'm sure.
I can explain what it is, and then he can toot my horn.
Toot later.
So Women of Isagenix is each year at Celebration, Kathy Coover handpicks 20 women of Isagenix to be, you know, to be presented with an award on stage with her, that embody and represent, you know, the spirit of Isagenix as a woman and as a business builder. A lot of us up there, probably most of us, are moms, you know, women that are doing the do, building the business, running a family, running a life, and really just showing up and you know, kicking ass. And so she picks 20 people a year. I was shocked as all get out when I got the news. I remember 4 years prior, 4, maybe 5, I don't remember, my very first celebration, JoJo and Carrie were up there for Women of Isagenix, and I held JoJo's vase and I posed with it and said, I'm going to have one of these one day. And I got one, and it was like really, really cool. I didn't know how or when or why. And then when the news did come, it was a complete shock. So it was pretty bittersweet.
Amazing. Well, I know, Josh, I don't know if you want to say anything, but I know for our team anyway, Lisa, you have been, and others, I mean, there's all kinds of people that I've met that aren't on our team, and I've met them through you, because you just reach out and support everyone that, you know, really that you meet. So I wasn't surprised, even though I didn't really know what it was, or that it was even there. I think that, you know, you just had such a presence, at least in my early Isagenix. So awesome. Thank you. All right. How about talking about 9 years? So you guys have been here for 9 years. There's certainly ups and downs. life. You guys, I think a lot of people here might know your story with the twins, and you had to take, a break on life really because you were with them in the hospital. So what is it that keeps you motivated? How come every time I talk to you guys, I get so excited and energized, and it's like I'm doing this for the first time every time I have a conversation with you, and you're 9 years in?
It sounds silly, and you hear this all the time, and it's cliche, but it's true. It's a gift. I mean, it's a never in a million years thought we would be on this call right now talking about Isagenix, presenting at Super Saturdays, going to training events, and spending our time and energy in this world. And we wouldn't have it any other way. Why? Because we're healthier because of it. Our kids are healthier because of it. We have a handsome residual income because of it. It just has morphed into our life, and it's hard not to talk about something like that has such a profound effect on the trajectory of your life. And that's exactly what it is. And the fact that you can share it with somebody, and it's, it embodies everything that we are. That's why, I think the most important thing about this is the alignment that Isagenix and the Cougars have with our family and our network of people that want to better our lives and better others. So it's one and the same, Crystal. It comes up in conversation because that's who we are. And we'll never stop. We say this all the time. We didn't make a dime with this. We would still be product users for life. However, to be making a handsome residual income.
A lot of dimes. A lot of dimes.
A lot of dimes based on the hard work. We put in a lot of work. The past 9 years, as you stated, we definitely sacrificed, and you got to sacrifice. We had to choose some things that we were going to give up. And a lot of that was time. The most precious commodity there is time. We never get it back. But we did get it back, and we have it back now. And that's because we have grit. And that's why, Crystal, when we look at you, you have grit. You do. When I said before, you don't take no for an answer, you don't. You know what's on the other side. There's people on this call, Jennifer Bennett, oh my gosh, I said her name right. I said your name right, Jennifer. I didn't say Gabby. Jojo, Patricia, there's Jennifer, there's Carter, and many of you that I don't know on here have grit. That's why we keep doing this, because we know we are not satisfied where we are. We're not going to stop till we get to, probably never going to stop, even if we think we get to where we get to where the finish line. There is no finish line. So, why do we keep talking about this? Because it's just who we are, in every way, shape, and form.
I think the other thing about Isagenix is there's so many different things that are for everybody, whether it's the products, whether it's the compensation, whether it's the contest, whether it's the ISA Foundation, whether you have a heart of service, whether you have a heart of competition. There is something that keeps us interested no matter what stage of life we're in. Whether it be right now where we're utilizing the time freedom that we get from having residual income, while we're working on our new house and hanging out with our kids and doing those things, that's of interest to us because it's something that Isagenix has given us. Whether it's those competitions that we love to run for, the big trips that are coming up that we're like, yes, nobody doesn't want a free vacation. I mean, those are extremely fun. Isagenix does an amazing job at trips, as Crystal, with the Disney trip. And there's always something to keep you interested. And quite frankly, if you're taking the products and putting them in your body, you're interested in a whole lot more than most people, because your brain is on and your body is on and you're alert and you're alive, alert, awake, enthusiastic. Is that it?
Yes, it's our buddy.
Yeah.
Crystal, it's pretty incredible. I enjoy talking to people on our chicken list. We all have a chicken list, and the reason is, it's because we have seen so many people say, well, I really don't need this. I make enough money. And year 2 goes by, year 3 goes by, and the rug is pulled out from under them, and their $400,000 salary just left, or someone got sick and they couldn't work anymore. I'll tell you, life changes like that. Unless you're Bill Gates and you have that type of money, you can still be doing very well in your life, but you still need this. You still need it, because if you're not giving as much as you would want to give with your salary and your income that you make in your household, well, now you have more money to give. If you're a giving person and that's your calling, like Lisa said, there's something here for everybody. But I'll tell you, to have that type of money that we see taken away from people on a regular basis, it's not an odd thing anymore. People lose their jobs like that. They think that's security. There's no security. The only security you have is up in your brain. And if you're an entrepreneur, you know multiple streams of income is where it's at. So we enjoy the conversations. Everybody can have this if they want. And I don't even know what your question was.
I think we were supposed to talk about our story a little bit.
Oh.
About...
No, that was awesome.
Whatever.
No, that was,
We
yeah.
lost a lot.
Yeah.
No, keep going. Don't stop. Awesome. Well, those were my questions. And I don't know, there's a lot of people on this call, so I might just unmute everybody and give people a couple minutes to ask a question. But are you guys up for that?
Oh, yeah.
Everyone can unmute themselves, so you don't need to unmute everybody because it's set up to where everybody can unmute.
Okay, perfect. So yes, if anybody has a question for Josh and Lisa, we've got a few extra minutes.
Hi, doctor. This is Christina. I wanted to ask you, when the patients come into the office, how the approach is. Is it, like you said, just different with each conversation, or do you kind of have one go-to conversation to get them started with the system? I guess you focus on the Forever Pack, like you said. So I just wanted to see if you could kind of explain how that conversation goes.
Great question. Nice to meet you, Christina. You know,
Thank you.
every clinic is different. And Lisa and I have the fortunate opportunity. We have a consulting company too. So we help practitioners implement different programs. And this is one of them. So when I say that, I'm going to give you the model that we use in our clinic, but it doesn't have to be, if you're a practitioner, it doesn't have to be your model. There are other options, and we can certainly talk about that at another time. But with our clinic, it's integrated. It's a part of our program. We have a concierge practice where we treat disc and nerve injuries. So we have a neuropathy program and a spinal degenerative program. So patients are paying us up front for their treatment. And in that process, we have allocated the products in their package. So it comes with it. It's just the way it is. We have other clinics that it's a part of the consultation. And I'll tell you, I used to go from a 45-minute nutritional, monologue to about 2 minutes. It's, if that, probably a minute and a half discussing the nutrition. And it's so easily integrated. I can't stress that enough. It's the number one reason why practitioners of any nature, of any background, don't bring a program in, is because they're so busy, and I get it. And that was us. Like, how are we going to integrate another program? My staff is maxed out. It's so simple. And this is one of the other things, Crystal, you asked at the beginning, why this program? One of the components and one of the whys is because it's hard not to integrate it into your office. So it's a part of the report of findings. You go over Mrs. Jones, you go over her subluxation, her disc injury. We're going to use laser, Hakamed, non-surgical decompression, and the nutrition is going to do this, this, and this. What questions do you have? That's how simple it is. So I take it upon myself to discuss it. I want to be that person to tell the patient, this is what they need to do. And then if you have a point person in the office that can handle other questions or show them the ins and outs of the program, you can do that too. But it's very simple. And because the platform tonight, I may not have the time to discuss that further, but I'll certainly, if you want to call me or message me, I'll give you some options too. But it's not a reason not to implement it into an office.
We literally at the front desk, when our patients get their nutrition, it's drink 1 shake a day, take 2 pills in the morning, 2 pills at night. It is so simple to tell a patient how to do this, because everybody wants the instruction. Everybody wants to be handheld, and it is so easy. You do not have to hold their hands. And our staff, we don't have to train them. It's drink a shake, 2 pills in the morning, 2 pills at night. And, none of the patients are intimidated or confused because it is that simple.
And we used to do value packs. And I'll tell you, as much as I love them, they're complicated. There's a lot of hand holding and coaching, none of that anymore. The Forever Pack is phenomenal, and then patients find this other stuff, and it migrates in that direction versus give them a complicated system and then try to figure it out. So I'll tell you, this Forever Pack thing that Jojo and Dave exposed us to, 2 years ago, whenever it was just a blessing. Even though we started on Isagenix, we found all these other amazing products, and we want to give them all to our patients all at once. And we just talk about fire hose in the face. So it's so simple, Christina. It really is.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, anyone else?
Yes, I have a question. The grip and trust. Hi, Dr. Dunsky.
Hey.
Hey. So when you're talking to other practitioners and you come across the company, a lot of them are carrying standard process. I know there's no comparison, but how do you instill that in them and help them to understand or guide them that there's no comparison?
Great question. So I used to use standard process, and so I know a lot about it. And I'll tell you, even if I didn't, the most important thing to do is to ask questions. Ask questions, ask questions, ask questions. When you ask questions, you open them up. You any defenses that may be brewing inside someone for whatever reason, practitioners included, you'll help mitigate those defenses by asking questions. What do you like about standard process? What are the challenges with standard process? How does your staff deal with standard process? Tell me the procedure in the office. So you get all this information up front. So now you know, because what you're looking for is the pain, the struggle. Every program, every practitioner, whether it's a nutritional question, a therapeutic question, a monetary question, there are challenges and pain. Even in a successful clinic, there's a ton of challenges. It's running a business. When you can identify those challenges, it's easy to show them there may be a different way. So I always just say, listen, Standard Process is a great company. Never, obviously, you would never do this, never bash something else, because Standard Process is a good company. And they do have good products. I found something better. I'd love to share it with you if you're open, and that's it. So if they're not open, you may find somebody that's not. But if they are, great. I could show you a way to XYZ, and that XYZ is their pain. To get over what they struggle with Standard Process, you got to stock the shelves, number one. They're making a straight retail margin. They can never make this type of money in a retail market. It's very difficult. I would say never. It's very difficult. So I talk about the money because they're running a business, and I recommend you talk about the money, even though people are kind of scared to do that. When you own a business, your cash flow is very important. Your bottom line is very important. Your P&L is very important. Cost of goods is very important. So you can't make this type of money with a retail comparison to the network model. So I talk about that a lot. And then obviously the nutrition, I just tell them, look, I like Standard Process. I have that much respect for it. I still had never seen such dramatic changes physiologically with people in such a short period of time. And they like the program. They like to stay on it. And we can get it to them at cost. And I mean, there's so many ands, Liz. I can go, Liza. I can go on and on, but you see where I'm going with it? I just ask questions and then say, this is my experience. Or if you haven't had an experience, my friend Josh is a practitioner. My friend Josh used to like Standard Process, and he found the system was a little bit easier. Love to tell you about that.
Okay, absolutely. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Nice to see you.
Good to see you.
I think just getting the permission is the only hurdle that you need to get by with anybody. If I would if you're open, I would love to. This may or may not be for you, but if you're open, I'd love to share it. And when you get that permission to share, then you get to share. And whether it be that you know the information, whether it be that you need a third party, whether it be that you need a tool, you just open the door. You start the conversation, you open the door and get permission, and then you share with whatever tool necessary.
100%.
Awesome. Thank you, Lee.
All right. Well, thank you guys. Love you both. This was
Love
awesome.
you.
I will put the recording up so you guys can watch it again if you want to, but thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Nice to
Krista.
see you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Bye.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.